Well, I'd like to welcome both our recipients and friends and family who are joining us here today. Dean's Medal ceremonies happen 3 times a year, summer, fall, and spring. And we are extraordinarily proud of those of our students who have reached this particular and very meaningful award from my perspective. Joe Spelaine is going to tell you more about the award itself and its origins and its meaning, but I'm simply going to say that it is really great to see all of you today and some of those who have supported you during your time at UF as well. We have a great agenda today, one which is going to feature an extraordinary speaker who will no doubt give you some very interesting perspectives about life after college. Let me just begin and reflect for a moment on what you have been through. And for those who are graduating this fall, you have essentially spent the entire year of 2020 in a peculiar situation, to say the least. Your spring term was interrupted by the pandemic and the ensuing move to online education, which has continued throughout the summer and for the most part throughout the fall. And so as a result, you may be asking yourselves, you know, how is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect my career and my future? And I am going to make a prediction. It's always dangerous to make predictions, but I feel very strongly that all of you will look back on this year and realize that, yes, there could have been things which you would have just as soon not gone through, including obviously the very sad consequences of this disease for friends and perhaps family. But you will also look back and realize that the challenge that you have faced is going to make a tremendous impact, or has made a tremendous impact in your ability to absorb and adapt. And you're going to gain confidence that you will carry with you. I will tell you, the last time the world has been essentially on fire, as it is now in the COVID era, was far, far more damaging than COVID will ultimately be. And if you go back to World War II, there was a huge, undescribable impact on many, many people around the world. I'm sure from your history, studies of history, you realize that. What I'd like to say, though, is that at least in the United States, which had certain advantages of geography, the country bounced back, and in fact, the amazing growth of the middle class and social changes which occurred following the devastation of World War II really put this country on a path to becoming a better place for its citizens. We still have a lot of work to do, and you will be part of that work, but I have no doubt that you and all of your fellow students who are leaving us this semester will find a future is so bright that you have to wear shades, quote an old song. So at this point, what I would like to do is turn the virtual lectern over to Joe Spelaine, Director of Advising and Associate Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Joe?
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everybody. So thank you for being here. The Dean and I love the Dean's Medal. We love the Dean's Medal reception, and these have been virtual of late, but they've been a lot of fun to do virtually too. So just first of all, my congratulations to our Dean's Medal winners. You'll notice that there are not a lot of you, and that's because the Dean's Medal is actually not very easy to get. Those of you on this call who are the winners know that it's not easy to get. It requires a lot of coursework. It requires a real breadth of coursework. It requires experiential learning activity. So it requires a lot from students, and it's very hard to just kind of accidentally get the Dean's Medal. It definitely, pushes you in directions that most students don't end up going. So congratulations. You'll notice, by the way, the one thing it doesn't require is GPA. And this is very important to both the dean and myself. There are lots of recognitions you're going to get from the University of Florida for a high GPA, and I have no doubt that some of you receiving the Dean's Medal are also graduating with honors this semester, and that's terrific. But for us, we really wanted to value the breadth of education that the Dean's Medal represents more than any just GPA accomplishment, and so that means a lot to us. And what I'd like to do in a minute is have you open up your medals, but don't do it yet. First thing that we'll do is give you all, and we would do this if we were in person, so we should do it remotely too. Give each of our winners an opportunity to introduce themselves. And if you could just introduce yourselves, tell us what your major or majors were, and maybe just a word or two about what your plans are next. And I don't have any particular order, so anybody who's willing to unmute themselves to get us started, that would be terrific.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah. My name is Jillian Miller. I am a linguistics major and French minor. However, I'm pre-physician assistant, so I plan on going to graduate school after working for over a year in healthcare. And I just got a job at the Cardiac and Vascular Institute for my gap year. So I'm really excited about that.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Jillian.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next?
I can go. Hi, I'm Hannah Litwack. I'm graduating with majors in medical geography and global health and microbiology and cell science. And I'm currently applying to master's public health programs for next fall.
And good luck with those, Hannah. Congratulations too.
Thank you.
I'll go next. My name is Sophia Forward. I am an economics major with a double minor in French and geography, and I will be starting my career at Deloitte Consulting next year.
Congratulations on that too. That's terrific.
Thank you.
My name is Melissa Gurney. I'm a women's studies major, and I will be applying for full-time employment, possibly something working in response to COVID.
I have no doubt those opportunities, unfortunately, will be there. So I hope something good comes of that. Melissa, congratulations to you too. Anybody else on the call who wants to? Sierra Blakey is on the call, and I have her information because I don't know if she's able to actually participate with the audio. So I will introduce Sierra for you. So Sierra is a sociology major, graduating with that degree. After graduation, she plans to further her education through a graduate degree and hopes to engage in the fields of global health and medicine in the future. So so congratulations to Sierra too. Did I miss anybody of our winners? All right, okay. Now we get to the good part. So if you've got your medal with you, now is the time to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to give you a minute to open the very pretty orange and blue box. Go ahead and get that open. And then once you open it up, I'm going to actually walk you through the medal itself, tell you a little bit about it. All right, there we go. I see some people actually have the hold it up so I can confirm that you've actually got it. Good, good. I see. Excellent. I've got one too, even though I didn't do anything to earn it. But all right, so let me tell you about this medal. First of all, as you can see, it's the real deal. It's actually a heavy medal, and it's sort of designed to be, among other things, really visible. You can't miss somebody wearing it. And although you're not going to be at an actual live commencement this year, once I go through the medal, I'm going to have you wear it for at least this this ceremony. So please do. It's one of the it's one of the things about commencement we like is to be able to see our Dean's Medal winners cross the stage in that very visible medal. But I'm glad you've got it. Let me tell you what the medal is all about. So on one side of the medal, you'll see that it says University of Florida College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Dean's Medal for Excellence. And you see that there's a kind of a shield here with images that are taken from the Great Seal of the state of Florida, as well as the University of Florida seal. So we kind of combine some images there to create that. And then on the reverse side, you'll see that there is a book and a torch designed to sort of illustrate the idea of learning and the illumination that comes from learning. And on the underneath the book and the torch, you've got some Latin, and the Latin words refer to the gifts that we believe a liberal education provides, and they can be translated, broadly speaking, as diversity, knowledge, and generosity. And those are, I think, dimensions of what I think makes our liberal arts and sciences alumni so special. And of course, in about a week or so, you will join the ranks of College of Liberal Arts and Sciences alumni. Oh, and I should also add the ribbon. So the ribbon is not our tribute to University of Tennessee. This is actually a ribbon that reflects the tassel colors for the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So if you've got your graduation garb and your tassels, you've either got a tassel that's one color or the other, right? So the gold and the white represent, and I think I've got this right, the Bachelor of Arts is gold, Bachelor of Science is a white tassel. Or do I have it backwards? Shoot, I got it backwards. That's okay. I had only one job and I screwed it up, but that's okay. So the idea, though, is to again sort of reflect the idea that although you are getting a degree in a specific program area, you've been out there getting an education that really transcends any one disciplinary boundary, and it's that integration of learning that we think the medal is really all about. So in any event, at this point, I would invite you to go ahead and put the medal on for the ceremony. You might as well. I know it's heavy. Oh, the other thing, by the way, I just wanted to thank Stephanie Bear and our college staff for the beautiful orange and blue boxing that they do for these medals. It really looks nice. Stephanie, thank you for that. And I just want to share with you that when we first ordered these medals, we ordered a lot of them. And they came and we were excited. We ripped open the big box that they came in, opened it up and stared down at hundreds of garnet and gold boxes. This is the original box that they came in. So needless to say, we got rid of these and repackaged every single one of them into a beautiful orange and blue box. So in any event,
Joe, I'm guessing that Mr. Alan Litwack is FSU grad. Is that what I hear? No. Okay, but you gave a big cheer at the time he revealed the box.
No, I don't think that was a cheer.
Okay, a rejection, an outright rejection.
Exactly. So in any event, congratulations to all of you. And I'm going to turn things back over to the dean, and then I'll rejoin you a little bit later in the program.
Thank you, Joe. And we'll work on the whole BS versus BA color thing over the next 12 months, and hopefully you'll be ready to go. All right. It's my great pleasure to introduce Courtney Cunningham today. Mr. Cunningham is the CEO of the Brand Advocates Incorporated, which is an award-winning public relations firm in Miami. He is an expert in public relations and public affairs, and he has led successful public relations and public affairs campaigns for government and private sector clients for over 25 years. His work in these areas has been award-winning. I won't go through all of those, but I will mention that in 2015, his team won the PR News Platinum PR Award in the community relations category. So one of the great things about a liberal arts background is that it can prepare you for many, many different fields. In fact, our graduates are over many sectors of our economy, over every sector of our economy, frankly. And public relations is an area where a lot of the things that we hold dear are extremely important. Communications, for example. He, for 5 years, his relationship to the University of Florida was extremely important one. He was a member of the Board of Trustees, where he led the communications efforts of the BOT here at UF. And he just recently has joined the Board of Advisors of the Bob Graham Center, which is located in our college. And the Bob Graham Center's full name is this Bob Graham Center for Public Service. And Mr. Cunningham has done extraordinary things in public service, and we are very pleased to have him with us today. Courtney?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, great, fantastic. They asked me to talk to you guys and give you a few pointers about life and sort of what makes you successful and what makes things go for you in your career. And, you know, it's pretty simple. You got to work your butt off. You got to work harder than anybody else. You got to be the one that's there at 6 when the office opens at 8. You got to be the one that stays until 10 when the office closes at 5. You know, you got to really, really want it. And it makes a difference in whatever you do. You know, if you exercise hard, you're going to see results. You work hard, you're going to see results. And always understand that from your employer's perspective, you are a way that they make money. So they may like you. They may think that you're terrific. They may think that you're funny. They may think, you know, everything about you is just fantastic. But if you're not increasing revenue and in helping the company grow, yeah, you know, not so much. I'm going to find somebody else who can help me do that. A client of mine called me one time at 2 a.m. and they wanted to just leave a message. And I picked up the phone. They were like, you answered. I said, I'm just getting home from a flight. And they were like, he said, you know, I'm up working too. And it was like, yeah, we know what the secret to success is, don't we? And so that's what it is. Other things, invest in you. Okay. Learn all you can learn. Continue to learn. This is not the end of it. This is sort of the beginning of it. Keep learning. And meet as many people as you can. I also used to work in Washington, D.C. I worked for the George Herbert Walker Bush administration. I was a presidential appointee. And walking around D.C., you're going to meet people. There were famous people walking around all the time. I just walked up to them and met them and said hello. You know, they'd see young people who want to meet them and pick their brains a little bit. They'd be happy to do it. And so meet as many people as you can. Balance priorities too. You know, there are helpful sayings that I learned later in life. And it's like a couple of good ones though. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? You got to pick your battles. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Another one, if it's not going to be important in 30 days from now, it's not really important. That's not what you die on a hill for. If it's not going to be important in 30 days from now, it's not really important. Be nice, be considerate, and be generous. It doesn't cost you anything. Do it. It's good for your soul. Figure out what makes you happy for work, but be sure that you can take care of yourself. Now, there's an author who graduated from the University of Florida undergrad and University of Florida Law. His name is Jim Grapondo. Okay, and Jim was a partner at Steele Hector Davis, which is a big law firm at the time in downtown Miami. And Jim would write in a notebook on the way to work, and he would write in a notebook on the way back from work. And finally, he got a book together and he sold it. And then he did it again. And he said, you know what? I think now I can stop practicing law, which I really don't love. And I can start writing books, which I really do love. And he's a successful author today. So figure out what you want to do, but make sure that you can take care of yourself. Personally, the person that you decide to live your life with as a life partner or the person that you marry is one of the most important decisions of your life. Choose well. Hot doesn't matter. Choose somebody who is going to support you and love you and makes you better, and you do the same for them. Embrace your mistakes. It's okay. Learn the lesson. Learn the lesson from your mistakes and keep moving on, because that's how you get judgment. Judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from making mistakes. Go for the big, hairy, audacious goals. Believe you can change the world. Okay? There's nothing that says that you can't. Believe you can change the world. I live in Miami, and just a few blocks from here, I'm in my house right now, a few blocks from my house is Palmetto High School. There was a kid who went to Palmetto High School whose mom was 16 when she had him. His father abandoned the family. She got with a Cuban immigrant. And this kid was really smart in high school. That kid grew up to be Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world. He's from Miami. He's one of you. Okay? You can do anything. Believe that. Ask for advice from smart people, people you respect, and take it. Take risk. Always be willing to take risk. When I was in law school, there were a bunch of us who went to undergrad together, and there were a bunch of us who these same people went to law school together. And so a guy that we went to law school and undergrad with, his name was Brian Ballard. And Brian decided that he was going to go work on a governor's campaign while we were in the middle of law school, and he was going to just stop law school for a while. And we were like, dude, that is the dumbest thing you could ever do. You're nobody. You're 22 years old. You're going to be carrying somebody's suitcase. And well, he did carry somebody's suitcase. And he ended up being the governor's chief of staff. He also ended up representing Donald Trump when Donald Trump was a businessman. Today, Brian Ballard is one of the most successful government affairs representatives in the United States. He has a great firm in Tallahassee. And he has a great firm in Washington, D.C. And, it was because, though, he chose to take a risk. Now, something that you're also going to see is there's opportunity in every crisis. Never let a crisis go unexploited. figure out a way that you can monetize the experience out of a crisis. There's always some way that something good can happen out of a crisis. Don't ever let that just slip away from you. Find a mentor in life. You know, now that could be your parents, but it needs to be somebody who cares about you and your future and what you want to do, and somebody who's going to give it to you straight. Now, my sister is somebody who will say, you know, look, I have a lot of common sense, but you know, you and my other brother, you guys are smart. But she is in the middle of the middle class, but she does have a lot of common sense. And so she saw this guy in the paper who graduated from Harvard University, and he was a Harvard lawyer. And her son was about 13, 14. And she said, you know what? You're going to meet this guy, and you're going to ask him to sort of take you under his wing. He did meet the guy. And the guy decided, yeah, I'll mentor this kid. So, you know, my nephew has turned out to be very successful. He's a partner with a major international law firm. He's a national expert on e-discovery, and he is now giving it back. But it was because his mom basically said, you're going to go meet this guy, and he's going to help you throughout the rest of your life. And he did, and they are still close today. So when I'll end with this. When life offers you an opportunity to dance, do it. When life offers you an opportunity to dance, do it. There's always going to be a time to work. But, you know, I think one of the things that I've learned so much out of this, and this is the constant learning I'm talking about. One of the things that I've learned so much going through this crisis, this COVID crisis that we're going through right now, is stuff is not important. Memories are important. My son turns 22 today, and memories are important. You know, I have so much stuff in my closet right now that I'll never wear again. Expensive belts and shoes and suits just don't seem quite as important today. You know, but memories with friends, with colleagues, doing this with you guys, this is the stuff that's important. And it's important to be able to give back to your community. And so embrace your education that you've gotten. I love a liberal arts education because it teaches you really to think, and it teaches you critical thinking. And that's what is so very, very important. It's being able to think. That's what your employer really, really wants. And the other thing, I'll tell you, in your first job, they may ask you about your grades. Second job, nobody cares. Okay? I've hired so many people. I never asked them what their grades were. Never. I want to know about their desire, what they care about, what they want to focus on, their energy, how hard they want to work. You know, and those are the things that are important. Those are the things that I remember. Those are the things that have guided me and have helped me. I on that meeting people, I literally got hired at a funeral. I got hired at a friend's funeral. You know, because I was an investment. I wasn't an investment banker then, but these investment bankers saw me at my friend's funeral, who was also an investment banker. And they were like, man, he knows everybody. They were like, you know, we ought to get to see if we can hire him. And I'll end with this. This is a great story. I interviewed, and I said, so what's going to be my title? And the guy said, your title? I said, yeah, what's my title? And he says, I don't know, pick one. He said, titles are free. So have any title you want. What was important was the money and the responsibility, not the title. So that is all that I have. If you guys, turn it back to the dean and go from there. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thanks so much, Courtney. Boy, I took a lot of notes. Now I know what I did wrong in my life. So, no, in all seriousness, I would like to ask the students who are here, everyone here, to think about a question you would like to ask, because I think the message here is you get to know somebody, and I can tell you in my experience, the best way to get to know somebody is to ask a question about their knowledge and what they think about any issue, and that's the way you break the ice. So think about how you're going to ask a question here in just a moment. I'm just going to hit on two things really. First, audacious goals. What is it about audacious goals that are so important? In my view, you set that goal out there far, far afield from where you are at that moment. Your level of knowledge to accomplish this goal may be nearly insignificant. But ultimately, if you really want that, if that's your plan, it's going to require you to apply the other lesson that we heard about here today, which is lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. That's how you accomplish goals. If you had all the skill that you will ever need and skill and knowledge when you graduated from college, you could just set any goal that you want and you could get there. But I can tell you, that's not the truth of the matter. You have to learn along the way to reach those goals, and it's a way to motivate yourself. And finally, I'll just simply say, I think the phrase that Mr. Cunningham used, grades don't matter, is precisely what I said to Joe Spelaine when we talked about this medal. Grades don't matter to me. They sure as heck don't matter to anybody who's out there hiring people. Let's de-emphasize that, and let's emphasize the qualities that set people off on the right path. So with that, I'd like to open the floor for questions. Just jump right in, please.
My question is how you would build a personal brand and how you would market yourself going forward.
Well, your brand, is not a logo. Your brand is sort of your essence, and it's what you stand for. And so I would decide, what is it that I want to be known for? And that matters in your social media. It matters in how you carry yourself in everything that you do. And if it's towards excellence or competence, focus on that. Write, be published, be known for whatever field that you have chosen to participate in or endeavor in. Try to be known as the best person in that field, and that comes through being published, being recognized, and it comes frankly through hard work and actually being excellent. And so if that is your brand, you know, it all comes from work and publishing and being recognized.
Who's up next?
I can go next. So I will be working at Deloitte within the government and public sector. And my question to you is based on your past experiences. What did you see the main difference between the public sector and the private sector that you could apply to in terms of going forward for us?
That's an interesting job that you're going to have, you know, because I've dealt with a lot of consultants who provide consulting to the public sector. The greatest difference is I'd say, depending, they're very smart people in the public sector. They're very smart people in the private sector, but I would tell you that I think in the private sector, people are much more willing to take risk. In the public sector, not so much, because sometimes not taking a risk is safe. And so even when you as a consultant come to them and say, hey, this is a great idea and this is something that you can do and it's going to save you so much money or it will make so much money, the first question they're going to ask you is, where else has it been done? Because I don't want to take risk. I don't want to take needless risk because I have elected officials on top of me. I have other decision makers. Safe is always a good thing. And you know, and they're not trying to make money. In the private sector, you know, it's all about P&L. And so, you know, you have sort of two different goals. But you know, remember the thing that they care most about, I would say, is safety and assuring that, you know, because it may be spending millions of dollars and it's like, how did you screw this up? Well, I listened to the consultant. Well, had it ever been done anyplace before? I knew I was going to take a risk. Why did you take a risk? You know, so think about that.
Thank you.
Who's up next?
I can go.
Hannah?
Speaking of risks, I'm going to be in Miami after graduation for 8 or 9 months. And I was just wondering if you knew anyone in the field of public health who you could introduce me to.
Sure. What particularly in public health?
Epidemiology, infectious diseases.
All right. In fact, I represent Jackson Hospital, and if you can give me a call, I think the dean probably has my information, or I'd be happy to give it to you. Send me your resume. I can certainly put you in touch with some people. I would tell you also, they're a great place to potentially go work would be in the mayor's office for Miami-Dade County. She's a new mayor. She was just elected. She's a really dynamic person, very, very smart. And she just hired a chief medical officer to deal with COVID. And so they're going to need staff people, you know, because the chief medical officer is, frankly, he's going to be the chief. He's a doctor at Jackson. He's the chief medical officer for the school system. He's the chief medical officer for Miami-Dade County. He's going to be a little bit busy. So they're going to need staff people who can support that effort. And, you know, it's a great place to get started.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But make sure to send me your information, and I'd be happy to get it in the right hands for you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take another question.
Yeah.
I'd like my grads to come up with a question. And if the grads won't do it, then the family members are going to have to ask the question.
My favorite type of question are just general life questions. So one thing I like to ask is, in your opinion, what is the best way to approach a situation when you're confronted with someone you disagree with, which happens often in the medical field? So it's also applicable to my future for sure.
Listen to their point and try to engage with them on a, try to engage with them so that they understand where you're coming from, but make sure that you really understand. It's sort of like seek first to try to understand and then to be understood. And and critically examine where you are, and make sure that you're right, and and deal with it from there.
So Courtney, I'm going to ask one more question.
Okay.
And if I could.
Sure.
And the university has for some time been building a capacity and a capability in artificial intelligence.
Right.
And there was a big splash this year when we invested $70 million in our own funds and in philanthropic funds toward an effort to build it even more deeply into our curriculum and into the research enterprise at UF. There are those who are concerned about the future of artificial intelligence. Many leaders of enormous companies in this country have expressed concern about it, investors and others, in terms of the impact on people. Now, you can take this from your particular professional perspective, or more broadly, but there are those who worry a lot about what may displace them from the future when AI becomes even more powerful. Do you have any thoughts or any suggestions about how we should think about that from an academic perspective, and then for these folks, obviously, when they get into the workplace?
That is that's an interesting question. I actually have been thinking about AI, and I was thinking about it yesterday. I also practice law, and artificial intelligence is capable of putting together a better contract, fewer mistakes, in 1/10 of the time than a lawyer can. But but lawyers are smart enough that they said, we're going to use that as a tool. You can't practice law if you're not a member of the bar. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be in the place of medicine as well. A computer can't practice medicine. It can certainly help doctors learn and help doctors come up with the right answers, but it can't practice medicine. One of the things that I'm honestly concerned with is self-actualization of artificial intelligence. Where it and I think this is what others are concerned with. I think that's what Elon Musk is concerned with. Is the artificial intelligence gets smarter than we are, and we sort of lose control of it. That's a real. I don't think that's a science fiction concern. That's a real concern. And but I think that artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's going to be in everything that we do, and we have to learn to use it as a tool to allow us to do our work better and faster. But I hope I answered your question. I don't know that I did.
No, you did, and so we use the term AI here at UF, and I'm thankful we use that abbreviation. Whenever I hear about AI, I always try to translate that into augmented intelligence, which is what you're saying, is that it cannot replace the human intellect, the human capacity for empathy, the human capacity to take care of society, that is lacking in machine intelligence. So I believe that is going to be extraordinarily important. And I agree completely with you. I know, for example, e-discovery is a big thing in law, and young attorneys used to complain bitterly based on my knowledge of family members in that profession, complain bitterly about being saddled with 100 bankers' boxes of documents to go through late into the night. And so e-discovery has made a change in the law, but it hasn't replaced, as you said, the intellectual and creative power of the profession. Any other thoughts? If not, Joe, let's move on over to the end of the event today. And why don't you take us home?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So first of all, let me just once again thank Mr. Courtney Cunningham for joining us. Like the dean, I took a lot of notes because I agree. Lifelong learning is really what it's all about. And these books behind me are not for show. I use them every day, and I think it's really important. I also want to congratulate our Dean's Medal winners one more time. Again, you were part of a small and a pretty talented group of our graduates, so congratulations on that. And then finally, one last thing, which I neglected to do earlier, which is a huge thank you to family and friends that are joining us today. One thing I know is I actually have something in common with parents here today, which is that I have a daughter who's graduating this semester from UF as well. And I know that it takes a family and a network of friends and support to get everybody to this point. So to family and friends who are on the call today, thank you for everything that you've done for our graduates. I know they feel the same way. So with that, we will conclude another Dean's Medal reception ceremony. Congratulations again. It was good to be with you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Courtney.
Congratulations,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you.